2 days after the end of the deadline Ethiopia's government gave to the Tigray People's Liberation Front to surrender, the federal army launched what it called its final phase of the fighting. These videos were handed out by the Ethiopian government on Saturday afternoon. Hours later, it announced victory and that it's taken over the capital of the northern Tigray region, Mekelle.
Our army, after having prepared yesterday on how to control Mekelle city without incurring collateral damage on the civilian population of Mekelle, have now fully taken control of Mekelle city as of this afternoon. Our army is hunting and going after and searching for the anti-peace elements that are hiding in the holes and pits.
The battle for Mekelle comes after weeks of fighting in Tigray. It began in the first week of November, following a government offensive against the Tigray People's Liberation Front. The offensive was a response to an attack by the front on a military base, which came after months of tension between the regional authorities and the federal government. A communications blackout was imposed and access to the region blocked since the start of the fighting. Even prior to the attack on the Tigrayan capital, fighting in other places in the region forced tens of thousands of civilians to flee. More than 43,000 people crossed the border into Sudan seeking refuge. Kidane Gerziger is one of more than 15,000 who fled to this camp in Sudan's Gadarif state.
They were looting our properties and wanted to kill us, so we all fled. We heard our people being shot, we saw dead bodies, so my family and I took what we could from our properties. We have farms that we should be harvesting, but we left everything behind. Some even left their family members.
The United Nations says it's expecting up to 200,000 refugees to arrive to Sudan by April should the conflict in the Tigray region continue. The head of the UN Refugee Agency told Al Jazeera that support is needed to cope with the refugee crisis.
They tell us we want to wait and see how the situation develops in Tigray in order to make a decision. Concern is legitimate, so we will continue to be with them here. We're stepping up the operation. At the beginning, emergencies are always a little bit slow, but I think it's stepping up quite quickly. And if we get the resources that I'm calling for, $150 million for the humanitarian community and the government for the next 6 months, we'll be able to have a well-organized response here. But we do hope that the situation improves in their country so they can go back.
The TPLF says it will continue fighting against the federal government. It seems, even with the government forces appearing to take control of the region's capital, the conflict in Tigray may be far from over. Hiba Morgan, Al Jazeera, Gadarif State.
Isaiah's Haile Mariam is from the Global Society for Tigray Scholars and Professionals. He says the situation in the region is fast becoming desperate, but Tigrayans will continue resisting government forces.
I can tell you that it's not settled, and the people are still protesting until a legit government is restored in Tigray, which the current government is. There's going to be any peace in Tigray, and the situation can continue to affect the entire region. So the propaganda that we hear is not accurate, and the people of Tigray are still resisting the invasion and the illegal war against the people of Tigray. Before November 4, Tigray was one of the most stable regions in the country, and there was very successful election. There was already acceptable government, and the unelected government of the Prosperity Party is trying to destabilize the federal system and install a single political narrative. So that's the problem. So definitely the people of Tigray will continue to resist. Millions of Tigrayans are they're cut from the world. There's no internet service. The banks are closed. Every Tigrayan's bank account has been closed almost for the past 1 week. There's no public service. If a person gets sick, they can't go to hospital. So apparently it's very difficult, and we can't hear anything about our families. So I've never heard of my families almost for 23 days now.